Greetings and welcome to your destination. You've reached the Psychological Wellness Hub. We aim to help you build your knowledge and better understanding of mental health and psychological concepts. Welcome back to the channel. Today's topic is an expansion on post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. A part 2 in a series where we build further on the understanding of PTSD. Please feel free to watch part 1 video in the series, which prepares you for this video. The link for part 1 is down below in the description of this video. Quick review. Can PTSD disrupt your life? Yes. It can cause minor to extreme difficulties. It can impair several areas such as social, work, school, responsibilities, goals, and more. PTSD can be short-lived to many years, impairing an individual. More on the symptoms of PTSD. Please be aware each person is different, unique in the way they experience their symptoms. So some people can have a set of symptoms and someone else can have a very different set of symptoms. Having said that, here's some general overlapping symptoms. Excessive persistence, sometimes feeling uncomfortable, picture show in your head, or memories about past negative experiences that torture you constantly. Constant feeling on edge about your apprehension or expectation of something threatening or a traumatic event will occur in the near future. Difficulty controlling or resisting the worry. Easily fatigued or worn out from that. Ongoing dreams or nightmares about the past bad experience or that follow similar themes. Feeling like you're dreaming while you're awake, kind of like you're reliving the experience in the present. What we refer to as a dissociative symptom, called flashbacks. We'll expand on this and other dissociative symptoms in future videos. Cognitive or thinking symptoms. Constant what-ifs. I'm going to get out of here. I've been sitting here too long, and it makes me a target or a sitting duck. Complacency kills. Got to keep on the move. If I let someone close, they're going to hurt me or die on me. I can't take this constant way I feel. It's like my skin is crawling. If I'm in a crowd, something bad is going to happen. Emotional symptoms. Things like intense fear, dread, irritation, and anger. Physical symptoms, things like muscle tension, anxious, increased pulse, dry mouth, dizziness, difficulties concentrating, mind going blank, feeling on edge or keyed up, fatigued or worn out feeling, getting drifty or dissociating. Behavioral symptoms, things like pacing, avoiding, restless limbs, wringing hands, leg hopping, like your leg is hopping up and down, like it can't sit still. Weeping, crying, getting loud, sleep disturbances, staying away from thoughts, feelings, conversations, or reminders of the negative event or past traumatic experience. All of the above goes through a pattern or alternation of symptoms that go from feeling like it's happening again to symptoms that feel like I need to stay alert, and finally, I gotta get away symptoms. Someone might talk about their symptoms in this way. I can't sit with my back exposed. I feel like my heart is going to pound out of my chest. If I'm not paranoid and alert, I'm going to get exposed. It's too quiet. Something's going to go down. I get too jumpy around noises, especially if I don't see them coming and they are loud. I gotta have it racked and ready to go in case something cooks off. It's going to happen again. Someone will assault me if I let my guard down, or worse, kill me. I'm pissed off all the time. Relationships. What relationships? They're better off without me. Relationships are a liability. Nobody can understand me or what I've been through, so I might as well be by myself or go back over there. Barriers to healing from recovery from PTSD. What are the things that keep them going? Here's a brief list of some barriers to healing that keep PTSD going. Things like avoidance. Avoiding dealing with anxiety or problem solving. Overanalyzing the situation or worried. Analysis paralysis. Excessive doubt. Excessive excuses. I can't. Excessive stress. Ruminating. Rating how we feel in the moment is how we will always feel, forgetting that we don't always feel this bad. Negative thinking is not bad. It can help us, but if it becomes our dominant focus by our choice, then it can hurt us. Focusing too much on our weaknesses, keeping too locked up emotionally or becoming emotionally numb, using things to self-medicate and keep the symptoms down or at bay, avoiding learning more about and exploring your PTSD and its origin. What does PTSD look like? I'm going to read some examples of individuals with PTSD. Please note these are not real people, but their stories represent real scenarios. Listen while I tell you about their stories. Listen for details of their PTSD and how it impacts different areas of their lives. Mark is a student. He always looks unsure of himself, timid and on edge. He seems to look over his shoulder a lot. His mind is always running and scenarios and threats are constantly showing up in his mind. Mark had something done to him one night in his dorm room after a party. Something he did not consent to and tried to fight off the person who eventually left once they had their way. Mark constantly beats himself up about what he should have or could have done, but doesn't take into account what actually was possible to prevent. Mark has begun isolating from others. Attending in class has started to drop off. He is not caring for himself very well and constantly looking out his window of his dorm room. constantly making sure his door is locked. It's a struggle to get groceries or food due to his fears that something bad might happen. Mark has trouble finding his ability to find peace and relax. Jody is a woman in her 40s who is not a fan of flying, so she drives to go visit her friend on vacation one day. Along the way, she makes several stops. Jody stops at one point at a gas station in a remote area. Jody and the clerk are going about in their business inside the store until one moment they hear the door sling open and a person comes in and holds them up at gunpoint. Jody remembers the intense fear and concern she had she was going to be killed by the wielding robber who pointed at her several times and at one point was point blank. Jody continued to live her life. She was at work one day and started seeing the robber ski mask in her computer screen. She got startled when she saw this and started to have a lot of intense thoughts during that moment. Later, while she was walking to lunch one day, she saw a law enforcement officer with a gun on his belt. Jody started to avoid things like this because it got her stirred up. She started avoiding gas stations, and if she has to go get gas, she does it as quickly as possible and only pays at the pump to avoid going inside the store. Jody is becoming more psychologically stirred up over time. She feels like her brain is running on overtime, running 100 miles a minute. She feels like her heart pounds out of her chest during the situations we mentioned earlier. She's becoming more physically stirred up in her body. She is more jumpy, suspicious, pacing more, unable to sit still. She tells herself it's going to happen again. It's only a matter of time. Jody starts to feel trapped, and everywhere she goes, she is reminded of what happened, like she can't get away from it. Bonnie loves her dogs. She loves spoiling them whenever she can. Bonnie got into a bad car accident one day after coming home from visiting family. She received multiple body injuries in this accident. The accident was a large vehicle pileup, and people did not make it. Bonnie knows this because she got out of her vehicle after the initial shock of the impact and tried to help others. One pedestrian who was walking was struck in the pileup and was lying on the road. Bonnie tried her best to help while she was on the phone with 911 or emergency services and suffering from her own injuries. The person already did not make it, and Bonnie to some degree knew this, but tried her best to follow the operator's guides. Bonnie was swooped up by the paramedic and in the ambulance, and she was feeling tremendous shame and guilt for not being able to save the pedestrian. Since the accident, a couple surgeries and some rehab, Bonnie is starting to get through some of her physical or medical problems. It's been about 6 months since the accident, and Bonnie feels less concerned about her medical problems because she's got other problems that others cannot see. No visible injury or one that is hard to see visually. Bonnie notices that she forgets things for her dogs, which she does not like. She has nightmares about what happens several times a week about the accident. She wakes up in a panic, sweating like she was getting through the accident again. Her heart's pounding. She's breathing hard. She remembers that pedestrian. When she is awake, she feels like there is a movie playing in her head over and over again related to what happened, and it puts her constantly on guard, on edge. She constantly looks at herself and criticizes herself for not doing enough to help that pedestrian, that she is a bad person to blame for not saving them. Or at least that's what she tells herself. She has struggles with her concentration and focus. Her full awareness of the full events is not letting her see her true role in the situation with the pedestrian. Bonnie begins to struggle at work, at home, has trouble going out. Friends are concerned about Bonnie. Family is concerned about Bonnie. And she left her boyfriend because she didn't want to burden him with her problems. Bonnie has PTSD. Scott has a wife and family. Scott is a combat veteran, an infantryman who came home from the war. Scott, though, has not really come home in his mind and body from the war. He has trouble psychologically dropping his battle rattle in his ruck. He continues to carry his burdens with him in this rucksack or military backpack. His head is constantly on a swivel. They told him when he was in country, when he was in war, that complacency kills. He had to stay on his toes or be shot, blown up, or killed by the enemy. The problem is that the enemy wasn't wearing military clothing. They were in everyday civvies or civilian clothing. They blended into the local populace, which often happens in insurgency-type wars. Scott struggled to tell the difference between a villager and a man who was trying to hurt him and his friends. Usually the only way was when the normal-looking person went out on the attack, or when Scott and his unit went on the offensive, interrogating that person to see if they were a friend or foe. Scott lost many over there, and he lost part of his soul over there. His friends are still with him, but not the way you think. He stays in that constant state of worry. He feels haunted by these memories and wonders why should his family be haunted by them as well. However, his family doesn't see it and feel it the way Scott does. When Scott wakes up, he's screaming at night. Scott is quick to anger when driving. Scott treats his fellow American civilian stateside like the enemy. Scott has also concerns about his friends and family's safety, even though they don't support those concerns and don't ask him to protect them. In fact, they treat him like he's some kind of alien when he does this. Treats him like he's different. Makes him feel like he's broken inside. Scott feels numb all the time, and when he doesn't feel numb, he feels dead inside from the torn soul he experiences. It robs him of his identity. He sometimes misses being over there, but wants to go back over there where life was simpler, more predictable, familiar. He doesn't like being home, and people he loves treats him differently, like he's a stranger in a foreign land. We hope that you found today's topic was useful for yourself or someone else. Let us know if it was by commenting below. Let us know what you'd like to hear about or what topics can be useful to you by commenting below, and we'll take it under consideration. If you like what you heard today and like to hear more from Destination Psychological Wellness Hub, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel by selecting the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen and by clicking the thumbs up. This will help you get the newest content produced by the channel to you. Please let all your friends and family know about this channel, share this and other videos with them on the channel, and encourage them too to like and subscribe. And as always, we hope your psychological wellness continues to grow with us in this community. Thank you.